Welcome to the Dr. Nurse Paul Show, hosted by Aspire RN and Dr. Paul. You are watching the USA Nurse Series. Dr. Nurse Paul is an NCLEX expert, having trained and mentored thousands of international nurses past the NCLEX RN for over a decade. He graduated with a Doctor of Nursing Practice in Texas Christian University. He is a registered nurse, an advanced practice registered nurse, and a certified family nurse practitioner. He also has completed a Certificate for Nurse Educator postgraduate course. Aside from teaching, he has extensive clinical experience in emergency and family medicine. He has over 15 years of combined clinical and academic healthcare experience. Dr. Nurse Paul is an immigrant from the Philippines. He is currently based in Houston, Texas, where he operates his business, Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN NCLEX Prep. He loves to share his life story of how he overcame his challenges to reach his dreams. He is passionate in helping nurses realize the American dream. So without further ado, let's all welcome Dr. Nurse Paul.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Sound check. Making sure that my microphone is working today. Welcome, guys, again to the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. This is the USA Nurse Series, and today we're going to talk about investments and retirement plans for our nurses. I have my good friend today as our speaker. We're gonna bring her in live today. There you go. Hi, Sheila. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? For some reason, I can't see the camera. I can't. Can you see me?
Yes, we can. Can you see yourself?
For some reason, I cannot. But it's okay. As long as you can see me and you can hear me, I think that's what matters. So.
Yeah. All right. Good morning. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Do you want to restart? Do you want to refresh your computer?
Okay, I'm so sorry. I see it now.
There you go. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right, guys. So good morning again. And I'm streaming live from Houston, Texas. And Sheila right here, she will be our resource speaker. And she is streaming live from Maryland, correct?
Virginia, but we're close.
Virginia. I'm sorry. All right. And good morning, everybody. We have our viewer here, Ashinichi. She said, just in time. Good morning. Thank you so much. And Lay said, hello, good morning. All right. And we have Miss K as well here. Miss K, Lefora admin, travel nurse, hacker. Good morning.
Good morning, Kay.
We would want your valuable insights in our talk today. All right. And how about everybody? Can you guys introduce yourselves in the chat and let me know where you guys are coming from? We have more people joining us today. We have Michael joining us and saying good morning to all, Dr. Nurse Paul, and to Sheila, our guest speaker, right? And before we start our show today, we're still bringing in more people. We have Rika joining us today from YouTube, and she is in UAE. Wow, good morning. Thank you. And all right. Miss K, I don't think I get this message. She's coming from Maryland, right? Thank you, Miss K. All right. If you're free, maybe we can invite you to the show as well, okay? Let me know so I can send you the link directly. But Sheila here today is our invited speaker. She will talk about investment and retirement plans. I've met Sheila through Lefora, the group that I also administer, and we've been good friends since. Lots of knowledge and valuable insights. Kay said she just got up and she's coming from her bed, rolling from her bed. All right. Anyway, for today's show, guys, this is our final show for the month of March. And because it's my 6th year in the United States as an immigrant, I'm also giving out one free NCLEX full course from Aspire RN and Dr. Nurse Paul. So that's worth $550. We're going to raffle it off in a little bit. So to join this show for this raffle, I don't know if we have a poster today, but our mechanics is you have to follow and like Dr. Nurse Paul Facebook page and Aspire RN Facebook page. And then what you're going to do is share this show live on your pages. You got to share this show live on your pages right now. And hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul on the comments. All right. We're going to use your hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul as your entry. We're going to use an automated process. It's called Comment Picker, where it draws from the comments and picks one lucky winner. But of course, we're still going to verify in the background if you have liked and followed Dr. Nurse Paul Inspire RN and shared this live show. Now, when you share this live show, make sure it's public on your Facebook so we can actually check that you guys have shared it. And there will be one lucky winner today. Please also tag your friends so we can have more viewers today. This is a very important topic, especially if you are already here in the US or you're a new nurse here or you are migrating here soon. Very important to plan your investments and retirements. Right, Sheila?
That's right.
I woke up a little late today, and I told my moderator, Lovely, she's in the background right now. I said, "Hold on, don't stream it yet, because I don't know if I'm gonna make it in time and to set up my camera and all that." But I was also worried that you might still be sleeping. We're streaming live today early because we have commitments, both of us, me and Sheila, after this show. But more people are joining us today. Good morning. Affer said good morning. Hello. Thank you for joining us today. If you guys have just joined, tell us where you're coming from. And if you have questions, we're going to gladly answer today, as long as it's within our capacity, as long as it's within our speaker's capacity today. And good morning from Philippines. Thank you, honey. And all right. Again, the mechanics to join this show's giveaway. This is going to be our fourth giveaway for the month. We've already distributed 4 free NCLEX courses over the weeks, and this is going to be our final giveaway for the month. There's going to be more next month, so you gotta have to watch out. The announcements. Follow Dr. Nurse Paul for updates about our upcoming shows. All right. And Lay said good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Please tag your friends. Affer is streaming or watching us from Israel. Thank you, Affer, for joining us today. Wow. All right. Sheila.
Yes.
All right. Would you like to introduce yourself to our audience today?
Yes. Hi. Good morning, everybody, or good evening. I don't know where everybody's from, but my name is Sheila Bustamante. I am actually from Northern Virginia, which is about 45 minutes from DC. I've been a nurse for almost 26 years, though I haven't really practiced in the last 17 months. I did come here back in 1978, and that's where I grew up a little bit when I was young, Paul, in Houston initially. Yeah,
Well, you're
Houston,
from Houston
Texas.
too.
And my
Yeah, I
actually
think
my dad,
you told me
I
that. I
did,
still
right?
have family members here, right?
Right. And my dad still lives there. He
Oh
lives
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Haiti. He just
Told
got
me.
back from the Philippines, and
Right.
basically I went back home to study high school and college, because college here is very expensive.
Right.
And as soon as I graduated from college, I came back here to the States. And it was a little rough when I started here, because I didn't take the NCLEX right away, which was the first mistake that I had. I didn't take the NCLEX. I was scared to fail, right? However, I overcame it. But before I overcame it, I actually became a young mom. I was a mom at the age of 23 when I started my career also as a nurse. He was my oldest son was my lucky charm. I passed my boards when I was pregnant with him. And it was a little rough, like I said in the beginning, and I didn't really know anything about money then. But I do remember as a 23-year-old, there was really not very much, I guess, resources. There's no social media. So you kind of had to wing it, right? But I do remember I was literally living paycheck to paycheck with my son at that time. And what happened was there was one of my coworkers. She was from Africa. She said, "Sheila, no matter what, just put $200 in your 401k." And I said, "What's that?" And she said, "Just here. Let me help you." So we put the $200 in 401k. I never really looked at it. I never remembered it. But then, it was probably one of the best financial decisions I did in my life, even though I didn't know what it was at that time. Okay. So fast forward, um, when I was in 2016, um, well, actually, my brother-in-law, I got married, I had another child, and then my husband, he started working in IT, and he started doing, he started working. We lived off of my salary for a while, so it was it got better financially. So then, when he started working, we got used to just working, with living on my paycheck. And what happened was we started saving more, and that's one thing, I made sure that we saved more. We were, I must say that we were doing the decisions right, but I didn't know anything about allocations. Okay. We just put money in, we had emergency fund then. um, but I just was putting money in an account where we had a savings account, if you may. And later on, we as things got better for us financially, we just kind of saved more and more. And what happened was, when my husband's older brother got sick with cancer, that's what really threw me off. I was like, okay, we know that we have our life insurance, we had investment accounts, college plans, and I didn't really pay attention. Like, I didn't really log into my accounts, right? But I do remember that my financial advisor at that time, he wasn't even Filipino, he was Pakistani, and he actually told me to roll over, my 401ks. And I do understand, like, as a nurse or even any employee here in the United States, unless you really move around, you're not really gonna make a lot of money, right? You can't really demand, like, your raise would be 1 to 3%, pretty much tops at 3%. But if you move jobs, then you could demand a higher salary. But anyways, what happened was, when my brother-in-law did get sick with cancer, that's really what brought me more aware to my finances. And I talked to Samir. I said, I know that I rolled over, our former 401k plans from my different companies. At that time, I had like 5 401ks, and I consolidated everything, and I never looked at it. And when I called him, I said, I know you've been calling me every year, and I know that I've been busy raising my children. And I finally said, here, I'm really ready to sit down and look at everything. So what happened, Paul, was that's what really made me aware of what I was doing. I was like, okay, our investments with him was doing well, and we had a good enough amount of life insurance. And I said, you know what, Samir, I want to learn about investing, right? And he was like, okay. I said, but I don't want to sell. I don't want to be, I just want to learn about money, right? So he said, okay, I'll get you into the company, and he even paid for it, I remember. And he said, just study, I said, look, I don't want to sell anything. I'm just too busy, right? So anyways, what I did find out was, the majority of the population is really ignorant, right? It's either people don't know what they're doing, or they're getting the wrong information. And that's really what paved the path for me to get into financial services. And I've been doing that for I'm going into my 6th year this year. So, and my two kids right now, they're
Right.
23 and 26, and thank goodness they're done with college. I had a 529 plan for them. They have no debt, you know. So that's pretty much my introduction. Was that too much?
No, no, that's a very thorough introduction. Thank you for sharing your story. That's what I call financial independence. And that's actually what should be our goal, right? We don't want to be like working till like
We die.
65. And now, I mean, look at France. They just increased their, what's this? Their retirement age. So I think, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but probably 70. But imagine if the government suddenly decided to, you know what? We're going to put the retirement age to 75 because we don't want to start paying out Social Security at 65. Then you're going to be forced to work till 75. And God forbid you have osteoporosis or some forms of disability. And we know nursing. Sheila is also a nurse, by the way. That's why I invited her I did try to select many people to join the show. I'm still probably going to be bringing them to the show in the future. But I want something that can not only talk about finances, but also connect it to being a nurse. Because, nursing is a very special job. We're all nurses here. My viewers are nurses. It's physically demanding, mentally demanding, but it's the physical part that limits you because eventually, right? Like I'm 36 now and I'm starting to get those muscle pains from the neck and back, and I'm only 36. I work in the ER, me and my ER friends. Like I feel like it's too early for that. But hey, the body slows down on one point, right? So financial independence is very important. That's one of my advocacies. Is why I'm doing this in the Dr. Nurse Paul show. And I feel like there's so much opportunities for us to educate our nurses. We work hard here in the States. We're earning pretty good money than most Americans, but we also don't want to throw those earnings like to so many things where we're not thinking about our future. But as we grow older, we're gonna work less. The diseases and health issues are gonna be looming around the corner. There's gonna be less opportunities for job opportunities or offers and stuff like that. So we want to be more financially independent as we grow older. All right. And great, Kay, don't quote my age. Yes, I'm 36. Thank you. But we have one of our viewers here, Enero. I know you've been following me for a bit. Thank you for sharing my posts. Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Nurse Paul and Ma'am Sheila. Thank you. But if you guys are joining us today, tell us where you guys are coming from, and we're gonna highlight your comment in our page today. But Sheila, I found this over the internet in magnifymoney.com. It says in Schwab Retirement Plan Services in June 2021, they found out that nearly 7 in 10 or 67% of Americans between ages 50 to 74 don't have a formal retirement plan. So retirement plans can come in so many phases, but we probably could run through them in a bit. While 4 in 5, that's like 80% lack retirement planning basics on how to be financially secure. And for me, that's alarming. I went through my 20-ish years, and that's 20 to 29. I burned so much of my earnings from a lot of things that I could have put in savings. All right. And I came over here in the States 30 years old. And I feel like everything is, happens at the right time, because when I was 30, I was already more financially literate, more financially mature. I'm not burning my credit card to the limit. I have more, I can control myself more regarding financial aspects. So that's why my goal was like to study more about the retirement processes, the investment strategies here in the US. That way I can funnel my money there. I remember on my second year in the United States back in 2019, I was sitting in the ER. It was one of the rough days. I'm a charge nurse, very sick patients, and we love taking care of patients. That's our role. That's what we signed up for. It's really good to be a nurse when you see your patients getting better. But then I told myself, I don't think I can do this forever. The emotional toll. This was pre-pandemic. The pandemic made it even more faster. I'm like, I need my exit plan, but the emotional toll, the mental exhaustion, where you feel like after your shift, after 12 hours, your body's frozen. You can't function anything more. You're drained from everything, mentally, socially, everything else. But I said I could do it forever. So I started watching YouTubes, reading books, reading free educational services from Schwab, TD Ameritrade's, Fidelity. But I said, I got to do something about my finances. I got to do something about investing and retirement plans. And since then, I've been an advocate for nurses. I even opened my own group. You're part of that. Kay is part of that. She's also my admin there. The Scrubs Investors, and we're still trying to grow that. We have 11,000 strong members, but we're sharing investment ideas. I don't call myself an investment expert, right? I don't have the license or certification to claim that, but I can fairly say that I have a little bit of knowledge and have my own financial trajectory that I'm I wanted to pursue. But then again, that applies to me. But we've seen the data. 4 in 5 people don't have retirement ideas, don't know where to put their money, don't know how to invest. All right. But before we proceed to our first question for Sheila today, we have Isa watching from California. Good morning. Good morning. Too early in California right now. It's about 6:58 on my clock. It's 4:58, 5 a.m. in California. And Lila is watching from Jeddah. Keep sharing, guys. Again, to win the NCLEX giveaway today, you must like and follow. See the mechanics at the bottom. Like and follow Dr. Nurse Paul and Aspire RN. Share this live show publicly on your Facebook account right now. And comment hashtag Dr. Nurse Paul. There will be one winner of an NCLEX full course. All right, this might be your chance. We've had 3 winners already just for this month alone. And I give about 2 to 4 free courses every month. All right. And Sheila, thank you for sharing your story. It was very thorough. Like times when, like health issues, like what you shared about your brother, and I'm sorry to hear that. But there are what I call eye openers, like where you have to like really turn back 180 and look back, like what should I do now? Like
Exactly.
I wish someone has told me about this before. Sheila was sharing to me her story off the camera about how she teaches her kids young to save, to put money in Roth, and now her kids are all working. She's a proud mother because they don't have debts. They have started their entire retirement plans and investments way, way early for their age. So they're only their 20s, but they're way ahead than their peers. And I told her, I wish somebody had told me about that, because in the market, when you invest, um, time in the market is very important. The longer that you put your money in there, what do we call that? Like
It's compound interest.
compounded interest. It's too early. Right?
And then and the dollar cost averaging, right?
Yes,
It's
dollar cost average,
very
which is very important right now because of the market,
absolutely
how
is
crazy it is. Before I just started the beginning of the year, put all my money in, but that's not the strategy right now. But time in the market helps your money to compound, which means you earn from your interests, right? That interest gets added to your capital, and now your capital is bigger, which gets invested again. Interest accrues, and then more and more. Like we say, if you put certain amount, like 5, 10,000 this year, after 30 years, you're a millionaire. But that's the truth, right? Um, I wish I had started early, but then again, I feel like, oh, I'm trying to play catch up. But if you look at it, I'm 36. There are 50, 60, 70 years old, don't have retirement plans. Well, thankfully, I've learned early too, right? Way ahead than my peers. But then again, I want to create this show. I've been wanting to really do this show, but my show has a progression. I could not just start on financial literacy right away. I've only been doing this show for 6 months. But I think this month, last 2 weeks ago, we talked about taxes. Today, we're going to talk about retirement plans and investment. And I think Sheila has the passion for it. I'm not even paying her any monetary compensation to do this, but she was very happy to come in today. And I know she has an appointment later, but thank you, Sheila, for joining.
yeah. Thank you for inviting me.
All
And
right.
that's very true. I really want to educate, as much as I can, and it's absolutely free. I think it's very, very important, to be very financially, at least aware. You know what I mean?
Aware. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Sheila, let's start our questions for today. All right. Let's talk
okay.
about investing for retirement. How important is it to invest for retirement?
It's oh my gosh. I'm gonna throw the question back because who
Yes.
wants to work forever or till they die, right? Who
Not
wants
as
to do
a
that?
nurse anyway,
Not
because
anyone, right?
yeah, right. It's
Not
tiring.
anyone, but it's unfortunate because I that was one of the statistics that I was going to go over, right? The Schwab Retirement Services did say that
We have the same
there are
source.
more people. It was actually on my statistics,
Oh,
and actually, yeah, and Vanguard actually did a survey, and they also said that only 40% are on target to retire, right? So it's unfortunate that more people are not doing the right thing than what they should be, and I think that should be one of the most important parts, moving parts of your financial plan, right? So nobody wants to work forever, right? So you have to really be smart about it. And the way I look at it is you got to look at what you said, time in the market, right? I started with just investing $200 a month, and then I gradually progressed, increasing that until my husband and I could actually max, right? We've been putting as much as we can. We do what the IRS limits allows, and as you know, the IRS does change the limits based on inflation, right? So I'm not telling everybody to max it right away, because you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. And like I said, it's one of the moving components of your financial plan, but it's definitely good to start. And I think that's the biggest issue, right? The biggest issue is sometimes people just know where to start or how to start. Would you agree, Paul? Because every time, I'm getting these PM messages like, how do I start? So what I do is at least educate them. I give them options, and so that they know, where to go, right? And as somebody who's been investing for 27 years in my IRA, my 401k plans, IRA plans, I must say, I could attest, okay, that just getting started, all right, and you have to be really, really careful about, the people you speak to, right?
Right.
Very, very important. I cannot stress this enough. I mean, this is what got me into, the financial literacy advocacy, right? I've been really reaching out to people, and I know that some people from the fora, they've reached out to me, and they can attest that I spent hours just educating for free, right? And I don't even say, oh, you have to do anything. I tell them, you don't have to do business with me. It doesn't matter. I just want you guys to learn and make smart decisions, right? So what I could say though is, for investing, right, for the retirement, obviously it's at a long-term goal, right? And time in the market is very important. Compound interest is what you really have to to be mindful of, right? Like you actually explained compound interest very well, and dollar cost averaging, which you also touched on. But I must say that I must say that as an investor for 27 years, I think I've done decently, right? I don't want to throw numbers out there, but for me to be able to just quit my job nursing, when travel nursing I was like, oh my gosh, these people are getting paid $5,000 a week. I was like,
More.
I left nursing at the wrong time.
More
right?
than that, Sheila.
I know, but like that was the average, right? I sat down with a client that was making $8,000 a week as a travel nurse. I'm like, I got out nursing at the wrong time, right? However, I have no regrets. I think, I'm turning 50 this year, Paul, but I value my time, right? So, but I would not be able to do this, retire from nursing if I didn't make those decisions right away, even though I didn't know what it was at that time. And long-term investor, there are really 4 different important, factors to consider, right? You have to make sure that you have the time, right? So the earlier you start, the better off you will be. You have to be very patient with investing, right? You have to be consistent, and you have to be very disciplined, right? Don't, if I keep telling people that if people made investing like an obligation rather than a choice, everybody would be in a better position, right? Treat it like your rent money. Treat it like a mortgage, because it's something that you have to have, or you won't have a place to live. Right. So I think that those are what people have to have in mind, right? Is the patience. And I really know, and I know this for a fact, right, that there's so many people out there that really scare us from investing, right? They say, oh, when the market crashes, you're going to lose all your hard-earned money, right? You know what? I try to help people get educated so they don't make those stupid decisions, those emotional decisions. Because like Paul, right? If you look at market trends, every time the market goes down, it usually recovers within 1 to 2 years. Every single time. We've been through the Great Depression, and look at where we are right now, even though right now we're in a recession, right? But we've been through how many market downturns? Multiple. And we've managed to come back up. Right. And like you said earlier, too, like the market is down right now. It's actually buy low, sell high. Right. So you want to buy even more shares if you can at this point, right? So I think it's very important because when we retire, we want to retire comfortably. We don't want to depend on our children, right? Now I do kid with my children. I'm like, hey, when I'm older, don't put me in a nursing home. I want
Right,
you guys
right.
to take care of me.
I think I'm the same. I think it's in my advanced directive. Just bring me to the beach,
I know,
let
right?
me live there.
It's because you
Yeah,
really
I don't think nursing home is the place for me as well.
no. And I think if if we just make those right decisions early on, then you could really, really be successful, right?
Right,
And like you said, I've told my kids, maximize your Roth, maximize your 401k plans, and I told them have a non-qualified account, right?
right,
Where
right,
it's just
right,
an investment account that has nothing to do with retirement,
right.
right? So if you were to ask me how important, it's very, very important because again, you want to be very comfortable when you retire.
Right,
You don't want to have to worry about running out of money,
right.
right?
True, true.
So yeah, it's probably one of the most important components of your financial plan.
Yeah, because investing will really put you forward. There are so many avenues here in the States where you can invest. But then again, also, like Sheila was highlighting earlier, talking to the right person is important. There are so many investment strategies. There are also pseudo financial assets that appear as an investment. For me, investment is something that makes me money while I'm sleeping, right? Now, investment for me is not about cookwares or networking strategies where, oh, I'm investing on your time. No, if I put my money in, I want it to grow. Yes, there will be market lows, it will rebound up, but also I'm very careful with selecting my investment. You know what I look like? What I look for, I'm sorry, when something is presented to me, historical analysis. All right. What is the performance of this asset in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years? And then let's put it back further to 20 years or 30 years, where we see two market recessions back in 2000, the dot-com bubble, and 2008, the financial crisis. And then, of course, we have the Black Swan event, the pandemic, which I mean rebounded in the next couple of
Yeah,
months after
months.
that. So
Yeah,
that's how we look out for when someone tries to like offer to me a financial strategy, an investment. What I always say is, what's your historical performance? Or if this is something new, like somebody's trying to offer me a syndication or real estate offer, I'm asking them, what are we projecting in this? And then I do my own market study. They say, okay, we're going to put a $1 million or a $5 million condominium in this city. What's the housing market like in that city? How's the turnover rate? Like, what are the rents going for in that certain city? So very important that you also do your own research. Don't just believe someone based off of, this is investment, it's going to make you rich. Make sure that the person presenting to you your financial plan or financial assets actually work for your interests and not work for their own pockets. Because again, at the end of the day, there are good people and bad people. And the only person who can help you weed through them is yourself. So knowledge is power. This is why we're doing the Dr. Nurse Paul USA Nurse series, because I'm all for education. I'm all for informing. Nobody's paying me to do it, but it's my passion for nurses to be educated in matters such as finances. Trust me on this. I've seen immigrant nurses, American nurses, some of them still working 65, 68. All right. Now, is it good to work on the at that age? I mean, certainly yes. But in the ER where I work, I don't think anyone who's 60 and above can thrive. ER is brutal, right? It's high acuity, too many stressors. I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack myself if I'm still working at 60, right? So my goal is to retire early, probably still serve the nursing community, but not in the capacity as I am doing right now. So very important that we have financial plan. It's like planning for your future, not only for your future, your family as well. Because I work in the ER, all right? I've already accepted man's mortality, that one day we're all going to pass away. It could be gradual, all right, through a sickness, or it could be immediate from, say, an accident, right? And I've seen many people, had to go through that in the ER. But what happens after you're gone? What about your family, right? What about your assets? What happens about that, right? So in my first 3 years in the States, after I left my full-time job to go travel nursing because it's a pandemic, right? Like Sheila said, I mean, I was 33, pandemic hit, and they were offering this much money. I was like, okay, this will advance me faster to my financial plan, right? To my financial trajectory. This will probably advance me 5, 10 years ahead. And sure enough, it did. So I jumped into the challenge with the risk that I might get also COVID and get infected. But I mean, I'm already doing that anyway as an ER nurse. So I feel like, you know, let me try this job because it's going to put me further financially. But in the first 3 years, I put 10%. I started gradually 2%, 3%, 5%, 10. At the end of my first 3 years in the States, and I finished my contract with my recruiter, I've probably saved 27,000, 26,000 when I rolled it over to my own IRA. That's including the company match. So for me, that's still a pretty good money. If you look at it, I didn't even feel it coming out of my paycheck, but it's there. It's growing. I'm not paying taxes on it. I will pay taxes on it when I take it out because it's pre-tax, right? But stuff like that, important that we have figures so we can overview where we're heading. Like I said, the goal is financial independence to where you're not relying on your job as a nurse because nursing cannot be performed if you have physical, limitations already or mental limitations or things just happen. Sometimes you can just function as a nurse when your family member is affected with a sickness or stuff like that. So invest on yourself, invest on your time, invest for your future. All right. And Sheila, can you give us an idea about common workplace retirement plans? 401k,
Yes.
403b, Roth IRA, Roth 401k. What are these?
Okay. So basically, we have what we call, let's define what an IRA is first, right? An IRA stands for an individual retirement account. Okay. So when you have it through your employer, they're called employer sponsored IRAs, right? So there are different names for them: 401k, 403b, TSP, right? 457 to name, right? Now, those are just tax codes depending on the type of employer you have. So if you work for a for-profit company, then it's called a 401k. If it's a nonprofit company, then it's called a 403b. If you work for the federal government, it's called a TSP, and if you work for the state, they have the 457 plans as well. Okay, so basically, when you put money into those employer-sponsored plans, you have to look at number one: how much does my company match? Right, the average matching is about 3 to 9%, 9% being on the high side. But you got to look at that and say, okay, if my company does the matching, right, which is 6%. So let me give you a real example. Let's say you make $50,000 in a year, right? And I
Yes.
know new nurses come here, they're really not making a lot of money to
Yes.
start, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's just give $50,000 a year as an example. Okay, that's
Right.
without overtime. That's your base pay. Now, if your company matches 6% of the 50,000, it means that they're going to put $3,000 towards your retirement, which is going to be spread over, your paychecks, right? That's $3,000 of free money that you
That's
are
free
losing
money.
out if you don't
Right.
if you don't take advantage of it, right? The reason they call it matching is because they want you to do it so that they can match it for you. Okay, so pay attention to number one, what they match. Okay, and how do you find out? All you have to do is ask for documentation from your HR department, right? Always, always, always have things in writing, right? Don't go by what just people tell you. You have to really look at the documents and make sure that you're paying close attention to that. Okay, so I highly recommend at the very least do what they match. And I know it's a little rough in the beginning, right? And I must say this, Paul, I forgot to tell you this earlier, but when I was putting $200 a month only into my 401k plan, my checking account, at the end of all my bills, I only had $3 left. And I
Oh
had
my
that for
God.
like 18 months. I
Yeah.
didn't really even have an emergency fund. I was like, okay, whatever. She told me to do this. I listened. Thank God I did, though. Right now, obviously, not all employers do have a matching plan. It doesn't matter if they don't. Just still invest money into your retirement plans. Now,
Right.
if they don't even offer those plans, okay, then you can open one privately, right? You can go through a brokerage. You can go to the bank. Now, do I really recommend banks? Not necessarily, but it at least could. It's one of the ways that you could at least open one, right? So if you don't have one through your job, then you can open one privately in the form of a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA. And if you're self-employed, you can open a SEP IRA. Okay.
Right.
So right now, if you look at it, right, the reason they call it an IRA because it's intended to supplement your retirement income. And I don't know if anybody knows this, but when we come here to the States, you're paying so many taxes, right? You pay
Right.
federal taxes, and depending on the state you live in, you got to pay for state taxes. Then you got to pay for FICA. Now, the FICA is what you're paying for your Social Security benefits and then your Medicare, right? Because in the event that you become permanently disabled or retired, whichever comes first, you will be allowed to take money out from your Social Security benefits.
Right.
I don't know if anybody knew that. And I do want to emphasize also that with Social Security, remember, right, when you pass away, right, that Social Security benefits, it dies with you unless you have a dependent, okay,
Right.
that is under 18, that will still get money from Social Security, right, until they turn 18, or if you have a living spouse. However, again, this is what people don't know about Social Security. Let's say the husband and wife, they're both retired, they're getting Social Security benefits. And just to throw out a little bit of statistics, the average payout in Social Security is between $1,800 to $2,200 a month per person, right? Now, if you look at that, $1,800 when you're retired, that's not going to be enough.
For a
right?
month, no.
You're going to have to either figure out a way to, get some help. You're going to end up, asking your children to help you, right? You might have to suffer and live, uncomfortably. That's not a plan, right? So anyways, going back to the Social Security, if husband and wife both have Social Security benefits, let's say one's making $1,800, the other one's making $2,200, right? If one of them dies, the living spouse will only get to choose between the higher amount. You do not get both.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Wow.
And this is why I tell people when they're talking to you about, these, you have to be mindful of, you have to make sure that you have this and you have that. You have Social Security benefits that you have to take advantage of. It's like a Ponzi scheme, honestly, right? Because if you don't use it, you kind of like really do lose it, right? So if you become permanently disabled, you can start taking money out from your Social Security benefits, okay? So anyways, if you don't have one, like I said, through your employer, then start one in the form of a traditional, a Roth, or a SEP. Now, everything through your employer, most of the times, right, it's going to be deducted from your paycheck, from your gross pay before they make any deductions, right? So what happens is that money goes tax deferred, meaning later on when you retire, all the money that you put in and all the money that it makes, right, the interest it makes will be taxed. Okay.
Right.
Now, I know that they're like, oh, you're going to be taxed. People are nobody likes to pay taxes, but you got to have a plan in place when you retire to where your money in your retirement plans can certainly be more than enough for you. And you don't certainly want to withdraw everything at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. You
Just
have a plan.
taxes.
You have to be strategic about it. Right.
Yeah.
And again, that's important to talk to the right people during the withdrawal phase also. Right. So if you have it right now, I think the limits for 401k plans are $22,500 in 2023. And this is set by the IRS. If you're under 50, if you're over 50, guess what? You can put all the way up to $30,000 a year, right? Now, if you don't have that, like I said, then open one up through either a brokerage, go to the bank, talk to financial advisor, a financial planner who has a securities license. I want to emphasize that.
Please.
Okay? I do want to say
search it
that.
through Google, right?
What's that?
Securities license can be searched in the database from the government.
Yes, absolutely. There's
securities from SEC, not from private organization where they're certified by their own company. I'm telling you, I'm a nurse, but I'm certified by this school that's not even accredited by the government. Something like that. Very, very important to work with knowledgeable, educated, trained experts, certified.
Absolutely. And I forgot to mention this, but I do have a securities license. I do have
Mhm,
a life insurance and annuities license. I
mhm,
even have a loan originator license for mortgage loans. Right
mhm.
now, I'm not here to plug anything. I'm just here to make sure that people get educated, right? Because I'm sick
Right,
and tired of hearing people that, oh, don't put money in a 401k plan. What? 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 I can't
right.
believe people are saying this garbage, right? Don't put money in a 529 plan. You're not going to get a scholarship. What?
Yeah, somebody told me, why are you putting so much money in 401k? Like,
It's
where do you
unbelievable.
want me to put it? In your pocket? Because that's my money.
And it's
I
disheartening,
think
right?
Kay and Anna can agree with me here because they're also in the show right now.
Okay. It's really disheartening. I really feel bad because Paul, I see it. And
Yeah, it happens on a daily.
it infuriates me, it really infuriates me. And I just can't believe that this is happening. A
This is
lot to the newbies,
yes,
right?
the naive immigrants that has just come here, and then their co-immigrant or whatever would say, "Here, I'm here to help you." Okay, so if you're here to help, then connect them to experts, right? Like I'm not even gonna talk to you about finances. I probably could give you an overview because that's not my expertise. But here, I can give you resources and connect you to people that know more, than me. But they like to say I'm certified, so I know better, right? Don't do 401k. These people are probably younger than me. They haven't even known about recession or the dot-com bubble. I wasn't even there, but historical analysis is there. You can see how the market rebounds. Don't dive in because you're fearful and because they're trying to scare you. You have to make a smart decision about your money. At the end of the day, worst comes to worst, you put it in a wrong investment, in a wrong fund, you're going to be the one who's losing, not the person who offered you the financial asset, whatever financial asset they're trying to promise you with. Everything is hypothetical and theoretical until you actually need the money.
Right, right. And then, like, going back to Paul, with the traditional IRA, Roth IRA, and the SEP IRA, you know, when you are invested in those, the traditional IRA also is tax deferred, right? Meaning
Right.
that you have to connect like a checking or savings account to open that account. But if you put money in traditional IRA, you're supposed to get a 1099, and
Yes.
you will be able to deduct that from your taxable income, right?
Right.
So having tax deferred accounts can be advantageous depending on your taxable consequences,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
But if you could take advantage of the tax-free retirement, which is the Roth IRA, you should also take advantage of that, right? And you have to do it while you possibly can because it
Yeah.
depends on your income. And
Right.
right now, this year, the IRS guidelines, okay, if you're single, if you make over $153,000 a year, you are qualified to put money into a Roth IRA. And that is true tax free retirement,
Right.
okay?
Right. We
If
gotta
you
be careful with the tax-free thing. And when we say
absolutely
tax-free, Sheila, we're talking about Roth IRA and not
Roth IRA,
anything else that's tax-free
okay,
because I don't know what tax-free that is, but
right?
yep. People like to coin the word tax-free until the taxman comes in and knocks on your door and say, that's not tax-free at all.
They just, a lot of these professionals are throwing the tax-free retirement. And the IRS cannot tax you when you lose money. That's
Right.
legal, right?
Right.
And I'm telling you guys, if you have not looked in your statements, whatever kind of financial contract you have, may be an insurance policy, may be your 401k, your IRA, you better look at your numbers because the numbers will never lie to you.
Right.
Okay. And like I said, I see this day in and day out, and it really pisses me off, right? It's your money, your loss. Okay. So be very wise about the decisions that you make and talk to the people that can really help you. Okay. And like I said, take advantage of the Roth if you can, right? Now, I'm not a tax preparer, but I certainly look at plans and I tell people like what would make sense for you because I look at their tax bracket also, right? And I know you're laughing, Paul. I can't see anything but you. Okay.
Because Kay is cracking me up. You can click on the comment section and you can see the
Oh,
actual feed from the comments. So on
oh,
your right tab you see comments. I'm cracking up because Kay is here. She's actively participating. She said, "Don't be biased. It's really tax free. No growth." no tax.
Right?
That's right. If you've earned zero over 15 years, you're really not going to pay taxes
Right.
because it's zero. You know, taxman is not going to ask you for taxes because it's zero. And Marina is saying, would rather spend my money if I have excess money touring the world than putting it in IUL. That's another Pandora's box we're gonna open soon. I don't think my show is still good for that, but we will put up a show for that. I'm just assembling a group of people to talk about this certain investment strategies that they're targeting immigrants. But I want a group of people to do that, because if it's just me and Sheila, or me, Sheila, and Kay, we've been very vocal about this, they're going to say we're biased. So we're going to bring in people that actually has SEC certification to talk about this, people that are pretty good. All right. So that way there's no bias. All right. But
Right.
then again, we're here for financial education the right way. We're not making money from this. But yeah, I'm cracking up because Kay has so much to share in here. I'm going to highlight one of this. She said earlier when we were talking, certified bogus man. Oh my God. But that's true. And she said this about travel nursing. Travel nursing can get you to retirement soon. That's what we did, right? And I remember Kay saying this. That's why I applied even before I met Kay. But I used to earn, I'd say, my paycheck every 2 weeks with 5 days of work, because 3 days in my full time, 2 days in my PRN. Well, my full time, I'm mostly just sitting around because it's a freestanding ER, so it's not really tiring. So I could do 5 days, could easily pull 5 days a week. My paycheck net 10% out for the pre-tax retirements and some to Roth IRA and all taxes out is 2,400 every 2 weeks. All right. When I only work my first 3 days, then I only get 1,800. That's pretty low. I was in a low cost of living city in Texas, so that's pretty good enough for me. But I said I want more than this, right? So I started earning 10 grand a week during the COVID, but I never increased my lifestyle. I was still living on a $2,000 paycheck every 2 months. All right. I was splitting my apartment in Houston with a roommate. I was splitting food. I was splitting everything else. I'm not very frugal, but I was very smart with my choices. I said every extra money goes two ways. One for my retirement fund. The other one is to build my mom a house. And sure enough, 3 years later, I was able to do that. But you can actually see the comments, Sheila, and I'm laughing every time Kay would put something. Kay is very knowledgeable about financial stuff too, and she's also a financial educator
I
herself.
know. I see it. I see it. And
How you
I
see it?
always say
I'm
that.
laughing every time those comments pop in because I can see live comments. You can see it as well, Sheila.
I
But
can't see
it's
it
so
though.
funny.
But anyways, yeah. And by the way, this is a side note, but my son is an OR nurse, and I
Yeah,
told Kay I would hook him up with Kay when he has his 2 years experience
please.
because
Kay's
he,
very good. She's worked in many hospitals in the
yeah,
East Coast and Mass Gen and where else, Kay? We talked about this. Johns Hopkins, top hospitals, leading hospitals in the
yes,
world. And I mean, she's a trauma OR nurse too. I mean, we see these trauma patients getting booked for OR right away. And I could honestly say that's probably one of the long procedures that they do all the time. But
oh yeah,
yeah, Kay is also one of us in the sense that we want financial independence, retirement
absolutely.
early, the FIRE movement. We're on our way to do that. And that's why I guess we all fall in one umbrella where because we've learned so much about our own finances, we became very passionate about sharing this because there's so many, trust me, there's so many immigrants on a daily in Lefora alone, and in my own account, I get these messages where people present to them financial investments, financial vehicles, but it's really not serving them. It's serving the people that's selling them these what's this assets. All right, so make sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Make sure that your money is actually working for you and not working for someone else. Because at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, it's your retirement fund. And trust me, I've seen people who thought they were investing in the right manner, and here comes retirement. And they were ready to retire, right? Well, they didn't have the retirement funds that they needed because they just trusted someone from 20, 30 years ago. Sheila, you've given me examples of this as well. and some of the financial experts that I talk to. And it's a very sad story. Definitely, I would never want to be like them. I would want to make my own informed decision. I want to work with someone who empowers me to think, not someone who tells me this is what you should do, because I'm not a sheep to be herded. It's my money, it's my retirement. I want someone to tell me these are your options. Now you can go this way, that way, but these are your options. Not telling me, don't do 401k and Roth IRA, right? I was talking to someone the other day and we're talking about 401k, and they're like, why are you putting so much money in 401k? That's what I said. Would you rather me put so much money to your pocket than my own retirement funds, right? So that's my strategy. That's what I wanted to do, right? And that's tax protected. Half of it is Roth and half of it is pre-tax. So, I mean, it's mixed, right? Anyway, Sheila, going back to you. You ready to proceed to the next question?
Sure.
Yep. So again, 401k, 403k, the 403b, I'm sorry, these are vehicles from the government to put your taxes in. Now, it can be allocated as pre-tax to lower your income taxes, or post-tax where you don't get tax deductions from it. You pay taxes on it, but pay now and you're never going to be taxed later. So my usual strategy that I tell for new immigrants, and this does not apply to all, again, this does not apply to all, but if you're earning like me, when I first came here, my first year was like $50,000 total earning, right? If your goal is to lower your tax, so more money to your pocket initially because you're starting your life, you're buying furniture, you're getting your apartment set up, or your kids being put to school, buying your own car, then you want to put your money in pre-tax, right? So more money to you because you're lowering your income taxes. But eventually, you don't want to put everything in pre-tax, because when you retire and you're now up to 35% tax bracket, and we're projecting that tax brackets might still increase because, again, it depends on the politicians who's sitting at that time that you're retiring. Then you're going to pay more taxes eventually. In post-tax, you already pay taxes now. So, for example, you're in a 22% tax bracket. You pay taxes now. In the future, if you end up being in the 35% tax bracket and you're a millionaire now, you're not going to pay taxes anymore. That's tax-free growth for tax now, and no more taxes later. So those are your Roth, okay? But hold on, I'm pulling my question and I could not find it. Here it is. Sheila, our next question is, hold on. Investment strategies. There you go. I'm not sure if we already talked about this, but tell us about different investment strategies for nurses that have newly arrived in the U.S.
Okay, so well, like in retirement or in general?
In general.
In general, I think number one, you want to establish, like I said, there's a couple of moving parts, but you want to make sure that you start building your emergency fund. Okay. Now, when you come here, I understand you don't have a lump sum, but ideally you want 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses. Okay.
Right.
And you don't have to have it right away. It would be nice if you did, but start building towards that. Right.
Right.
You want to also start again, investing into your retirement. Okay.
Right.
And investing strategies that I've had, right, personally, which, by the way, Paul, I can be very specific, but I can tell you that, when you're investing money into your retirement plans, you have choices from your employer, right? And usually it's very limited, right? And they're always either mutual funds, right? They're index funds, they're money market, sometimes it's even cash. Right? And you will see very commonly every employer sponsored plan, what may be a 401k, 403b, they have what we call target funds, right? So the target funds are the mutual funds where it has a four numbers at the end of it. It's like 2030, 2020, 2025, 2035, and usually it's 5-year increments. And basically those 4 numbers, it represents the year closest to your retirement, right? So for me, if I'm turning 50 and I want to retire, like I say I'm really retired. I just do this on the side, right? But you can't officially take the money out until you're 59 and a half, right? Right. And that's, again, the IRS sets that. Now, later on, you'll see that 4-digit number, if you calculate, like, let's say for me, like I said, I'm 50, 15 years, 2022, I'd be around the 2040, right? either 2035 or 2040, somewhere in the middle. So what it does is it basically it adjusts your allocations based on your age, right? Because supposedly, right, in the early years you want to be very aggressive with your investments, right? You want to be
Right.
heavily invested in stocks, and then later on, as you get closer to retirement, you want to be a little bit more conservative because principal protection is more a priority, right? However, last year, unprecedented, even the bond market was at a double digit negative, right? So now they're revisiting that whole, stocks and bonds
Strategy.
later on
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of what happened last year. And this
Yeah.
is another thing I want to tell you, okay? No one, absolutely no one should give you promises of the future, of future returns. That's illegal.
Exactly.
If anybody's telling you, oh, this is the cap, I'll guarantee that you'll make this much, run away from them. You cannot do that legally, okay? You cannot ever, okay, promise future returns. You can always look at historical performances, but you can never promise the moon. Okay?
Exactly.
If
That is the truth.
anybody, anyone is telling you only good things about a product and doesn't tell you the negatives, run away from them.
Right.
Every single product has pros and cons. Every single one.
Every investment strategy has a risk.
One. Absolutely. Okay. So, those are usually where you're going to be defaulted into, like those target funds, right? However, there are other funds in there and you got to look at that, right? Now, I've seen, retirement plans where usually there's only about 30 funds to choose from, because remember, from your employer, you are not an asset, you're an expense to a company. So that your salary, all of your benefits, that is basically, they count that as their expenses. Their job is to provide you with a plan, right, to choose from. It's not necessarily the best one, but I still encourage you guys to research and look at the different funds, right? Because when you're invested in mutual funds, first of all, when you're buying, shares of stocks, right, one at a time, if one bellies up, then you lose everything, right? What the mutual fund does, it gives you the capacity to invest in different companies, right? It's baskets of companies. It could be baskets of stocks, baskets of funds. And this is why you also pay fees. But the expense ratios, right, compared to what I've seen out there, is very worth it, because when you look at the expense ratios and you look at historical returns, they've already included the expense ratios from that historical rate of return. Make sense? So, be very, very vigilant and careful about these investments. And like I said, if somebody's been investing for 27 years, I must say that I'm just grateful that I'm comfortable, right? My husband is pretty comfortable. We're comfortable, right? I'm not saying we're super rich, but we're comfortable. And at the end of the day, it really depends on how comfortable you feel, right? And it really, you have to manage your money well. You don't want to you want to prioritize your needs versus your wants, right? Now, look at, for me, I've done index funds. I do mutual funds. Now, I do my individual stocks for myself. I don't do it for my clients. That's out of the scope of my practice. I can't even recommend particular stocks to anybody, right? Real estate, right? Ownership is always better than renting. Okay. And I know that it's gonna be
building equity too.
Yes, you're building equity because it's gonna be yours, right? So REITs, right? And those we can tackle that at a different time. But also your investing strategy is going to depend on what that money is for. Like if you want an emergency fund, you want that liquid. So something pretty conservative. Like right now, I don't know if you guys know, but there are banks out there that are paying 3.4 and above APY.
Right.
Last month, one of my accounts, I got paid like $200 something in a month for interest.
Right.
So you gotta be careful with their investment strategies depending on the type of the accounts that you have. Like if it's a short-term one where you're just saving money to put a down payment on a home, that's a short-term fund, right? Something that you're probably going to touch within 2 to 3 years, right? And it's a long-term strategy. Then they're mutual funds, index funds. I mean, You just be smart about it. Okay. Don't let anybody fool you by scaring you from investing in the market. Okay. Now I can't promise you the moon either. But guess what? If the market crashes, we're all screwed. I don't care where your money is.
All these companies that are promising you the world or the moon
Yes.
are also going to crash. I mean, Silicon Valley, the 16th largest bank in the United States, promised so much to their investors. $2.15 billion gone to waste. Now they have to be bought out and saved by the feds. So really nothing is guaranteed. But historically, many investment vehicles have performed really well over the years, and that's what we're trying to count on.
Right. Thanks, Paul.
Right?
And I have 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. No, I know Sheila has to leave, but thank you, Sheila. Any final words before I wrap up the show? Because Sheila has an appointment, but it's okay.
I'm so sorry, guys. I wish I
No,
could
no.
spend more time, but unfortunately, I wrote my little list of my points because there's just so much that I want to share, right?
Right.
Read fine print. Number one, read fine print. Okay. If you don't know how to read it, get somebody who can. Not the same person that gave you what you have. Read the fine print. Always, social media, it could be great, but it could also be your detriment, right? Because not everybody on TikTok, I see it so much. They're like advocating for products, and I'm like, you guys suck. But anyways,
they call it a financial product. Really, it is a financial product because it makes them earn money. So there should be a disclaimer there, right?
Absolutely.
That's false advertising.
I'm a big proponent of telling people you got term insurance is the way to go, right? I think there's a misconception that you need life insurance forever. You don't. You only need it for a temporary period of time while you are building your assets, right?
Eventually, you want to be self-insured.
Absolutely. And that's why for us, right? For me, I tell people, look, you want to be protected 100% of the time. What does that mean? It means that if something happens to you untimely and somebody's depending on your income, you want to make sure they're going to be taken care of, right? And, unfortunately, 10% of the population will die too soon. That's what the insurance is for, right? 90% of the people will live too long. That's why you invest for yourself and you build your nest egg, right? Build your assets. Okay. So later on, if you live long enough, you have enough assets to where you're going to be worth more than what you're insured for. Okay.
Right, exactly.
And on the flip side, if something does happen, then your family will not be in financial ruin. Okay.
Right.
This is like nothing with finance, but you know what? You got to choose your partner wisely. Also, choose the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with wisely.
Marriage is also a financial decision.
It is a financial decision, okay?
That is the truth. But that is the truth. Communal properties and all that, my goodness, it's gonna split your. God forbid, hopefully not. But should a divorce happen, guys, it's a financial. There's gonna be a financial toll in the relationship too.
Absolutely.
So yep.
And when you increase your earnings, increase your savings, right? And that's what I did. I put my needs versus, my wants, and then I took care of my needs first.
Right.
Right. Take care of your credit. Your credit score. Your credit score is very, very important. The higher credit score you have, it proves your credit worthiness, right?
I know there's a cash is king movement too, but your cash is devaluing by the minute. You're now down 6% because inflation ate up your value. So I'm sorry, but your $1,000 today is not going to be the same amount or value in perspective or in relation to inflation after 10 years. So cash is also not king all the time.
And you know what? Invest in yourself. Invest in learning. Invest in a skill that can make you money, right?
Yeah.
Like this was an accidental business that I did. But you know what?
Right.
I'm getting a lot more from knowing that I know in my heart that I'm helping. Now, I don't know everything. Please don't get me wrong.
Right.
I don't know everything. But what I know is that I really want to help people get educated for free. I don't charge anything. And I just, and people can, people that I've talked to could attest to that. Yeah. I get, Paul, my phone is like blowing up all the time because of, like things that are, even like, car insurance. Oh, of course I can't sell you a car insurance, but I can give you tips, right? And that's what I try to do on Live 4. I just try to put as much information as I can without, sounding like an agent. Okay. Credit, like I said, protect your credit, build an emergency plan, invest in your retirement, and also college plans. Very, very expensive. Start something if you have children. Now, if you have another plan where you're going to send them back to the Philippines, then great, right? But if right now tuition in state is 25 to 35,000 a year, right? And don't listen to those fools saying that if you have a 529, you're not going to get a scholarship. I already posted that on the forum where scholarships can be merit based. If your child is smart enough, if your child has leadership skills, if your child is has a special talent, right? They're athletic, they're gifted, right? They could still have a scholarship, and they're not going to care regardless of your income. They're not going to care if you have a 529 plan. Okay.
Yeah, but also there's also loan forgiveness where you don't have to pay anything back. I know there are people that like to cherry pick on the loopholes, but cherry picking doesn't really get you anywhere. It's just trying to bring more money to your pocket. Like I said, people choose who you speak with, because if their main goal is to put more money in their pocket, then that's less money for you. Right. That's more money for them.
And the last thing I want to say, right? There's a cash flow quadrant, right? Right. Which, if you've read, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he describes ways of making money. The left side is being self-employed and an employee, where you have no control of your time or your money.
Right.
At some point, you want to get to the right side of the quadrant, where you become an entrepreneur, right? Where you hire people so that they make money for you. So even if you're on vacation, your money doesn't go on vacation. Right. Or be an investor, where you can make money while you're sleeping. Okay, investor.
Money work for you.
Investor. Okay, make your money work for you, not for the people that are selling your product that's making money for them. I can't. Right? Anyways, guys, I'm so sorry. I have to get ready for my next meeting, but it was nice talking to all of y'all. Maybe we'll do this part 2.
We appreciate your time. Absolutely. Thank you. Hope to see you in more shows in the future. Kay and Anna would want to join too for sure, but we're going to put up more shows. I can only do 4 a week, but I probably could ramp it up to 2 times. So, 4 times a month, but I probably could do it 2 times a month now, but we'll see. We'll see. Thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you.
If they have questions, can they contact you about, how do they get to contact you? Emails or Facebook?
So my email is, well, first of all, let me give you my phone number. Oh my God, I'm giving my phone number online.
Online.
It's 571-246-2165. Okay. My email is S as in Sam, C as in cat, B as in boy, 513@gmail.com. All right. And I think, Paul, if you want to, they're more than happy, again, you have no obligation to buy anything from me. Number one. Okay. Number 2, if you have any questions, you can also contact me on Facebook. My name is spelled backwards. Okay. So, and you can share that with them, Paul. Okay. And like I said,
you probably can comment in this thread in a little bit in Facebook so they can see who you are. But later, I know you have an appointment.
Thank you so much, everybody. I can't see everyone, but hopefully you got some nuggets that will help you.
Yeah, okay? I appreciate you.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. And that was Sheila Bustamante, guys, sharing us her financial advocacy. Now, Sheila does have financial vehicles that she's also invested with. Let me clear that up. But again, you are not required to buy anything from her. But I do like her because of her passion, just like me. And I am also not selling any financial investments. Like, I probably could give you tips of where to invest, but trust me, I'm not selling something, and I would not actually prescribe to you something. For the last 3 years that I have the Scrubs Investors Facebook channel or Facebook group, I've been offered many times to create a hedge fund because of how aggressive I am with my investment. But you know what I told these people? I don't want to be responsible for someone's retirement. And then if the money, if the market goes bad, I'll get blamed for it. All right. I don't want to get other people's money. I want them to work with experts that can work with them, that have done market research, that were educated and certified to do that. I'm not that person, but I do certainly have things that, based on my research, and all the people that that are in the same umbrella as me, where we want to do more financial education and prevent our nurses from making harsh decisions, from making informed uninformed decisions, because people are trying to sell them vehicles or financial vehicles. I call them financial vehicles, not investment vehicles, because it's still going to cost you money that will make you lose more money. All right. So some of the things that I'd like to share and wrap up with what Sheila was saying. We've heard her talked about emergency fund. That's my number one on the list. Make sure you have 3 to 6 months of cash, all right, liquid cash that you can pull from if you lose your job. So say, for example, your monthly expenses is $2,000. So times that to 3, which is 6,000, or times that to 6, then that's $12,000 on your bank account as a savings, where you can pull it just in case you lose a job and you need time to like get back to it. All right. So emergency fund. And then extra money goes to, if you have kids, 529 plans or college plans. All right. Also for your retirement funds. All right. So build equity. If you want to buy a house is a form of investment too. If, for example, in my case, right, I pay a certain amount of mortgage. And before, I was renting an apartment. My apartment was nice, but I'm not building equity. All right. Give you an example. I'm paying $1,500 for my apartment. That doesn't include all the other fees, right? But now I'm paying $2,800 for my mortgage or something. $2,800, but I can room share, or I'm using one of my rooms as an office. So something like that. But I'm also building equity. My house has only been a year here in the States, and I've already built equity of about 10 or 12%, and it's still going up. So the point is, diversify your investment strategies. Put some in pre-tax. 401k is the easiest, where you can pick a target fund or market. And your post-tax or taxable brokerages, you can also do that. There are many investment vehicles, like your stock market, bonds, your mutual funds, exchange traded funds. Now we have cryptocurrencies, we have foreign exchange as well. We have real estate, one of the strongest market, right? Or REITs, or real estate investment trusts, right? And there are so many investment vehicles, but it's really important for you guys, and this is my tip number 4, and this is what Sheila was talking about, is to check your investment. We call this, I don't know if it's even a legit term, investment appetite, all right? Or investment strategy. Are you a conservative investor? Are you a moderately aggressive investor? Are you an aggressive investor? I can honestly say that I'm moderately to aggressive, very aggressive investor, because I'm 36. If the retirement is pushed back to 65 or 67 years, then I still have 30 years in front of me where I can invest my money aggressively. All right. So guys, again, this is just an introduction to the financial education series that I'm doing in Dr. Nurse Paul Show. USA Nurse series. Last week was about taxes, and today was about investment strategies. And Kay shared so much in the comments. She said, thank you, Paul and Sheila, great content. Thank you, Kay, for joining us today. I know you just woke up. And she said, this is true. Your IRA, this is the real cash value, because your IRA and retirement funds are your money. If you guys know this, and this is not really advisable, but worst comes to worst and you need money, you can loan off of money. You can take out the money because it's your money. You can use it for another investment vehicle, like a real estate vehicle. Real estate that you're trying to buy or pay down payment for. So that's really a good vehicle. All right. And then again, Sheila also highlighted, and this is what I'm trying to share, also Kay and many other people that are joining us today, invest not only on the bank, all right, or on the different strategies. Invest on yourself too, all right? Maybe you need to go back to school or get a certification so you can learn more skill. More skill more payment, right? Here in the States, it's all about certifications and specialty. The more specialized you are, the higher you are paid because you narrow your niche, which means there's probably few people that can only do what you can do, all right? So invest in your skill. With me, I invested on my doctorate degree and nurse practitioner course, right? And that's a forgiveness program from the government too. So invest on your skill because the more skills you develop, more certifications that you get, the more money you bring into your pocket. And that more money can eventually be invested, say, for example, stock market, and then it gets compounded interests. All right. So, very important that you guys plan your future. This is the longest show I've ever done, but we're ready to announce the winner. All right. And the winner for today's Dr. Nurse Paul. Sorry for the overtime, guys. We really loved talking to you about this. Appreciate y'all. And Kay is right here. You need to invest in relationship too. Network is net worth. This is the truth. I'm a business owner myself. And unfortunately, the world is a little unforgiving when it comes to competition. All right. Competition is good, but it can also eat you up. In a tight industry, for example, in my business, in a tight industry for NCLEX, it's very hard to compete. But I got to have a niche, right? So when I develop my business plan, it's really not what you know because there are so many talented nurses, smart nurses. I'm not even the smartest in my craft, in my craft, right? There are many smart people like me as well. I'm sorry, I'm not calling myself smart, but there are many talented people like me that can also be an NCLEX educator. But it is important to have your connections, all right? Connections in the industry, connections for yourself, so you can further, all right, yourself and advance yourself further into your community, all right? Find your niche, find your community, and start networking and collaborating, all right? So this is why we have professional organizations. This is why we have communities like Facebook groups, right? Very important to have those network, all right? Thank you, Kay, for sharing your expertise too. Kay said you are smart, you are not married. Marriage is also a financial decision, guys. All right. Yes, love is important, but again, please sit down with your partners and talk about your financial strategies together. All right. Like I said, two heads are better than one. If you're already in a relationship right now, sit down. Make sure that both of you, your partner and yourself, are in the same financial strategy, right? And in the future, we're going to talk about more about finances for immigrants. Thank you guys for joining today. And we are ready to announce our winner, right? Our winner for today for the NCLEX Dr. Nurse Paul Method Full Course from Aspire RN is, let's see, Enero 22. Oh my God, I just mentioned you earlier. Thank you so much for joining this show. Please send me a message in the Dr. Nurse Paul Facebook page, and I'm going to give you instruction of how to proceed to claim your prize. Thank you so much, guys. Next month, April, there's going to be more shows that I'm going to be ramping up, and I'm going to be having announcements. Watch out for my announcements in my page. But next month, we're going to do Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX still every first and third Saturdays, and USA Nurse Series every second and fourth Saturdays of the month. But again, I'm trying to put up extra shows now during the weekdays so you guys can continue supporting Dr. Nurse Paul. We're going to bring in more field experts from different topics, themes that will help our nurses, both immigrants and American nurses, and particularly in the financial aspect. All right. Thank you, Kay, for joining me today. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, everybody. Hi, Pope. One of my best friends is actually my roommate. Hi, Pope. Good morning. And tomorrow, Joanne. Thank you, everybody, for joining Dr. Nurse Paul Show. See you next week for the Secrets of Next Generation NCLEX. Please follow me in Facebook for this live show or in YouTube. We're streaming this live both in my Facebook and YouTube. But you can also follow me in Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn for all my other social media activities. All right. But my main shows are actually streamed here in Facebook. So we're going to announce the future shows in the incoming week here in my Facebook and in all my social media channels. Thank you guys for supporting Dr. Nurse Paul. And I'll see you guys next Saturday. Bye.
You have just watched the Dr. Nurse Paul Show. Watch us live every Saturday, 8 a.m. Central U.S. Time. For more info about our future events, follow us on our social media channels. You can find us at Dr. Nurse Paul on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. See you next week.